Hey everybody! Welcome to the Magical Mystery School, and thank you so much for coming back for the weekly astro update for September 26, 2025. And of course, I always thank you for any likes and subscribes and comments and all that good stuff. Helps me and the channel. Anyway, how's everybody doing after the equinox and the eclipse? Oh my gosh, was that the craziest, or it's still crazy, intense times that are going on right now? Well, I was just getting back from my trip. I went up to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So I went through my Wyoming, saw the Jellystone and the Tetons, and Montana and Idaho. Had Eckhart Tolle as my traveling companion in the form of a CD there. So I must admit, I got back, I'm exhausted physically and mentally, emotionally. I was up visiting my ex, and he's going through some health issues. And what can I say? I was married to the man for 23 years. I don't hate him or anything like that. So I wish him all the best for sure. Okay, so I'm feeling like everything is upside down and backwards for me personally. But let's look a little bit more. What did we have here? Well, with this eclipse at 29 Virgo, and that's like 1 degree away from our Libra, world axis point here. That is a health polarity, though. Pisces Virgo, and we did get an announcement that that Tylenol could possibly contribute to autism. I'm not too sure about that, but we'll just see what happens there. Pisces can be a little confusing too. Oh, and before I go any further though, I did want to go review what an eclipse is. Just for everybody's clarity, because one of the gals I listened to, and I really do respect her a lot, but she kept saying that the equinox and the new moon were all happening at the same time, and the eclipse was kind of something different. And I just wanted to impress upon everybody, eclipses only happen at new moons and full moons. And they can only, so they're called lunar or solar eclipses, depending on what they're doing here. And the one we had, the lunar eclipse that we had in September 7th, is this where the Earth comes between the sun and the moon. So remember, this is our 3D consciousness, the way we're seeing the world right now. And the sun is our illumination, our consciousness, honesty, truth. The moon is the subconscious, though. So think about it. This is casting a shadow onto our subconscious. So keep that in mind when you're interpreting the symbology for yourself. And just like with this solar eclipse, now the moon has gone all the way around its orbit around the Earth, and now it was blocking. So the subconscious now is blocking our 3D view from Earth of our illumination. Now, it doesn't have to be very long. It kind of comes in and gives us a little break time. Eclipses are also known for, we can change our thinking quickly. And we've got a good example of that in the past. But I did want to just review that one more time for everybody. And and also eclipses only happen when the moon is very, very close to the nodes. And the nodes are simply a point in space. They're not a physical body. And it's where the orbit of the Earth around the sun intersects with the orbit of the moon around the Earth. So those are those 2 points of the north and south node. And I go into this a lot more detail on lesson, I believe it's 34 and 35 in my playlist, Astrology for Beginners. So if you want a little catch up on that, not catch up, catch up. Anyway, all right, no throwing ketchup here. Anyway, so I just wanted to just give you a quick little review on that. So just remember, eclipses are only at the new or full moon. All right. Okay. And as long as we're talking about, we still got the Epstein stuff going on. We had the big Charlie Kirk memorial. I did not watch that. It sounded like quite the performance, though. And talk about changing your mind with this eclipse. I guess Ukraine launched a huge drone attack on September 23rd and they actually went in so the Muscovites and all of them could see that, Ukraine's serious here about ending this war on their terms, basically. But I guess the dumpster had a meeting with Zelensky at the UN and said, yeah, Ukraine can win this war. We're out of it. He's just like, since things didn't go his way, he's just going to leave, I guess. Anyway, that was kind of interesting. And I do apologize. I did see a few clips from that speech from the UN. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. The things he said to other countries, I apologize anyway. What else happened? Oh, and the RFK and the autism thing and the Tylenol. Oh, and then he went to the UK, and I guess I watched this channel called Soul Print, and the gals from Canada, so she was like, they didn't curtsy right, they didn't know when to bow, they were touching people when they're not supposed to, so I guess they made a big didn't make themselves proud, let's put it that way. And of course, the reason I left this up, this is where I left you guys last time, was this talking about this Mars yod here, this fickle finger of fate, pointing up to the beginning of Scorpio here. And yes, Mars went into Scorpio on the 22nd, squared Pluto, right? But what happens when Mars went into the beginning of Scorpio here, it activated this yod. Okay, and that's again, and this is oh shoot, I can't remember which lesson, but anyway, it's 150 degrees from this axis point, both directions. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. And so this Uranus-Neptune in sextile to Uranus here, did I say it? Saturn-Neptune conjunction, sextiling Uranus, giving this kind of like uncomfortable energy here to Mars. And then the squaring of the Pluto here, I mean, intense, public, and, this is the individual against the public. And who has their Mercury, the communication planet, at 2 degrees of Scorpio? Jimmy Kimmel. I thought, when I saw that, I was like, okay, astrology, you made me a believer once again. And really, I mean, it really was the people speaking out, squaring this, if one person made this decision, and, oops, there's my little Pluto, squaring this and really battling it out. But I think this is showing also a change in our plutocrats. Okay, so the plutocrats in Capricorn, me first, greed's good, all that kind of stuff. Now we're getting into this, we better pay attention to what the people say. Is that what's happening? Are we starting to see a change in the plutocrats? We shall see. We got about 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius, so only time will tell there. Okay, so I did want to mention that because that was just such a, this is like aggressive, energy here, wanting to win no matter what. But that eclipse energy just flipped everything. And, I think they announced it on the 23rd and he was back on the air by the 24th. So pretty amazing stuff, that's for sure. Okay. let's see, what else did I want to, so I think that was the main thing I wanted to mention. And just keep in mind here, this yod with this square to Pluto, you know, Saturn, or excuse me, Mars went first, okay? And then we've got the, you know, the sun is just here, you know, into Libra, Mercury's into Libra, Venus is coming up here in Virgo, going to go into Libra. But just remember that this is all going to come back again. With next time, Mercury's going to hit this point October 6th. So just, I'm curious to see if Jimmy Kimmel's stuff comes back by October 6th. Okay. So let's review. I'm going to go ahead and remove this yod, and I'm going to put the kite back, because that kite is just, you know, so powerful right now. I mean, because, you know, we've got this Pluto-Uranus trine, okay? That's air to air. Aquarius is fixed air. Gemini is mutable air, so that's a nice, good, easy flowing energy. That's our trine there. And that's going to be there. I mean, like for a couple of years. I mean, both of these are very slow-moving planets, and they're going to be exact 5 times between now and 2027. So just, you know, again, be aware that this is just in the background, okay? Now, with the eclipse, or I'm sorry, with the equinox, the eclipse happened at 29 Virgo. Then the next day, the sun went into Libra. And also, just keep in the back of your head, 1 degree Libra is the midheaven, how the United States, in the United States chart. So it's how we present ourselves professionally, work-wise, that kind of thing. But with this sun going over that 0 Aries axis point here, it created another trine, okay? Because this is cardinal air. And so now we've got this beautiful grand trine of air. And we've seen this before when Mars came through here before and just activated all of this. So Mars went across this August 6th. Mercury went over August 18th. The sun now on September 22nd. And Venus, don't forget me, okay, is going to go across this point on October 13th, which happens to be the same day that Pluto goes direct. Pluto's been retrograde, so kind of a little bit more on the quieter side. So I'm curious to see what these Plutocrats do when they start going forward after October 13th. Did I say 6th? October 13th is when Venus hits this point. Okay, so with a trine like this, we really think, because air is our mental capabilities, we really think we know what we're doing. We think we got it all figured out. And you know, with a trine though, we can get a little lazy. So we can think, oh, I know how this is going to work. I'm just not even going to, you know, I'm going to do it tomorrow or next week or next month. That's the problem. With a grand trine, and no matter what it's in, you got to kind of push yourself to keep moving here. Okay, but what's wonderful about this is this sun and any of these planets, when they hit this axis point here, this world axis point at 0 degrees Aries Libra, it's activating this Saturn Neptune. Okay, now Saturn is already back into Pisces. Neptune's going backwards and getting ready to go into Pisces. And remember, when these planets go backwards into Pisces, they're going over 0 Aries. That is the primordial point of the zodiac, basically. That's why we're talking so much about how this time right now is going to be a whole new, could be a whole new consciousness for us all. Okay, now another thing that's really amazing about this is that there's this little mini trine going on. Okay, so with this activation here, with this Saturn-Neptune opposition from the sun and these other planets, there's still the sextile. Okay, now this is Saturn and Neptune are right at the midpoint between Pluto and Uranus. So that means they're sextiling. It's 120 degrees for a trine. This is 60 degrees. And, you know, I always, you know, it's sexy but memorable, right? And fun. That's one way I just remembered it from when I was studying. But here we go. We've got this, we've got this wonderful little mini trine here that makes a kite. And what's so nice about this is that it gives an apex point, an outlet point for this trine energy so that we get more action out of it. And what have we been saying over and over about this Saturn-Neptune combination here, Pisces, Aries? It's 3D physical reality plus combining with the cosmic. So, you know, that's what's wonderful about it. Keep thinking of practical spirituality, you know, and it could even just simply be yoga or walking or something like that. But just remember, you're combining these. That's your way out. That's your way out. Walking meditations, all those kinds of things, and just use your own imaginations. And you hear me talking about this very beginning of, you know, 0 to 5 degrees. Same thing with this yod up here in Scorpio. And don't forget, we've got that other yod where the outlet point is down here in Virgo. We're kind of past that with these personal planets, but just keep that in mind for your own planets. So literally, between this kite and and the two yods going on and all that kind of stuff, literally every sign in the zodiac between, I would say, 25 and 5 degrees anywhere, you are going to be activated. So look on your chart and make sure you're aware of, you've got square energy, trine energy, all that kind of stuff. Because remember, with this Pluto-Uranus trine here, that's kind of a bass note going on here, this is change through strength, okay? And it doesn't have to be bully strength. Pluto gets that label a lot of times of being kind of the bully. But let's try to, you know, maybe in Aquarius it will be maybe a little less so. I don't know. Aquarius is fixed to air, so that can get pretty darn stubborn, that's for sure. Okay, and again, you know, we may think we know what's real, but push it out. Go for that. You know, how can I combine the spiritual and the physical? This air trine, we want free thought. We want independent thinking. But just keep grounding your idealism, right? That's the way out. That's the way to use this energy. I guess I shouldn't say way out in general. Okay. And let me go through this wobble chart one more time, just for, not one more time. I'm sure I'm going to be showing this chart many times here to come. And remember, the wobble is referring to all these planets have gone in, like, let's just, you know, like Uranus has gone into Gemini. He's going to go back into Taurus and then go back into Gemini for good. And that's what's happening with Saturn and Neptune. Pluto did it in 2024 between Capricorn and Aquarius. So when I'm talking wobble, like we had Mercury and Venus wobbling back and forth over this 0 Aries back in the spring. Remember, it was kind of creating a lot of back and forth choices again. So that's what I'm talking about, a wobble. For example, a not wobble is Jupiter's down here in Cancer, and Jupiter's going to go retrograde and direct, but it's going to stay in Cancer. So I'm not calling that the wobble. But anyway, okay, so here we are. We're right here, the end of September, beginning of October, and we're in this, you know, Saturn's gone retrograde, Neptune's gone retrograde. Saturn's even back into Pisces now. Uranus is retrograde. Neptune's going to go back into Pisces on the 22nd. And then Uranus goes back into Taurus on the 7th of November. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. So this whole time that we're in right now, this is the time for integrating, processing. You know, you still may like, I don't know what's, you know, back and forth, you know, what do? I don't know what to do. That's what's going on here. Be quiet. Let your stillness come through, help you out. Remember, what you see is what Source sees, okay? So if you're seeing something happy and good, Source is happy and good, okay? So keep trying to process. Now, what's going to happen here? Saturn going direct, yes, Saturn will still be in Pisces, 25 degrees Pisces before it goes back towards Aries. But I'm thinking Thanksgiving into the Christmas time. Neptune goes direct at 29:23. Look at that. It went into Pisces the end of October, so what's that? It's 4, 5, 6 weeks. It's moved 37 minutes. That's crazy, man. There's 60 minutes in a degree. So it's like just sitting there at 29. And again, 29 Pisces, that's the end of the zodiac. Just as powerful as 0 degrees there. Well, this is letting go. This is like going forward. Okay, but we got to let go. You got to make room for the new. I mean, that's just kind of one of the things. So this also is creating a lot of uncertainty, because Pisces is a little woo-woo and unsure, you know, kind of out there anyway. But at 29, oh my goodness. So anyway, I'm thinking like by the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we're going to like, I think things are changing. I think we're going to start to feel like things are going forward, and that we can understand and see how things are moving. Then here we go. January 27th, Neptune goes into Aries for good, for like the next like 14 years. Uranus goes direct February 15th. And this I think is probably the biggest in my mind as far as us being aware of anything. Because February 15th, Saturn will go back into Aries for the next 2.5 years. And we'll start to separate from Neptune too. But this is when I think we're going to, because Saturn's the last planet we can see, we can physically see. So I think we're going to start being really conscious with, okay, this is where we need to go. We're Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. Sun is exalted in Aries. Let's go forward. Let's do our, you know, bring up our consciousness. And then at the end of April, Uranus goes back into Gemini, where it's going to love it. It's an air sign, mutable, and Uranus loves all that mutability, back and forth, back and forth. So really, again, you know, we're looking at May, June, that things will be different, okay? So get ready, guys. It's going to be exciting. Okay, so I just really wanted to go over that in quite a bit of detail for you. And let's see if I've covered everything I wanted to. Let's see. This eclipse, oh, I didn't mention though, I didn't say, you know, with this eclipse on the health axis, I'm wondering if we want the facts. So I'm curious to see if that thing about the Tylenol kind of gets knocked down pretty quickly in general. And just like Jimmy Kimmel, with these yods, if you're in my, what I call my October Scorpios, if you're getting hit up by that first yod I was talking about, just remember, think Jimmy Kimmel. You've got all that annoyance, that irritation, that uncomfortable. Actually, he probably thought his world had just blown up. But he had that sextile energy, and that's making it work for him, okay? Remember, he was 2 degrees Scorpio there. Okay, so do remember, you know, that we're on this axis point here, and I think, oh gosh, the future. Here I'm so hung up in the past. Okay, so the only really thing that's happening this week is on October 1st. Mercury is from Libra, is gonna square Jupiter, okay, on October 1st. So as I always say, whenever Jupiter square Mercury, watch your mouth. Things could just come flying out of there, and you don't even, you know, you can't take it back once it comes out, right? So just, you know, keep that in mind around, you know, give it a day or two on either side for sure. And then what we'll talk about next week even more is that Mercury's going to go into Scorpio and activate that yod again, just like Mars did. So again, keep that in mind. Oh, and you know, there was one other thing I did want to mention. Robert Redford passed away on September 16th, and that was on September 15th, Venus and Mars sextiled, which is a really beautiful, very, I mean, if you've got, that's why I wanted to mention this, if you've got Venus sextiling Mars in your chart, no matter what signs they're in, you know, remember that's always fire, air, earth, water for those sextiles. This is a very just pleasing, people who meet you like you, you know, you don't find it difficult to date, that sort of thing. If you've got Venus sextile Mars in your chart, be kind to people who have the square. It doesn't quite go quite so easy for them. But I just thought that was so beautiful that he went out, because he was such a charismatic, and it sounds like, I mean, I never met him, that he was a good person. He did a lot for the environment, for sure. That he went out under a Venus sextile Mars. So anyway, all right, that's all I got to say for today. So we'll see you next week, which I think is October 3rd, and we'll talk about this this Mercury going into Scorpio, and oh, and it's a full moon too. We'll be talking about on. I think that's October 6th too. All right, guys, see you next time. Bye. And just remember, from there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. Bye.